Hello, beautiful being. What is up? Hold on, let me fix myself. Okay. What is up? I know this looks a little weird. I didn't know how to put it on the screen. Weird. So today is the last day of the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle. Now I won't stay up straight. That's what she said. Okay. Today's the last day, and here's the situation. We have 36 courses that only are available until midnight tonight on sale. After midnight tonight, baby, this bundle is not going to be $49 anymore. This bundle is going to be $2,200. Literally, my course is not going to be $1. I think it's $1.25 in the bundle until remove the banana. No, now I'm going to keep it. No, now I'm going to keep it, Sherry. Okay. So we have a very special guest. I wanted to interview him for a very long time. His name is Kendall, and he is a legend, a living legend, even though he's super young. He's a living legend in the raw food community. And we have him here, and we are celebrating the last day of the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle. Okay, first of all, you're not only going to get my new course, which is a 6-week course called How to Be a Healthy Raw Vegan. You're going to get Chris's brand new summer meal plan, which is amazing. We're going to talk about a little bit about it today. I'm going to ask him so many questions, so I got to get him in here. All right, he's coming in here. And it's only available until midnight tonight. So go to the link in Chris's bio, The Raw Advantage. Go to his link, click on the bundle, and see if it's for you, because honestly, it will change your life if you let it. This is all the information you need to know to live an amazing, healthy vegan lifestyle. Sherry's distracted by the banana. All right, we'll take it away. But okay, let me bring Chris in here. Okay, it's the screen anyway, because Chris is gonna be half the screen and it's gonna be weird. Let's see. Hey, right.
Oh, hey. What's going on? I was just having a little dance.
You're sneaking in some food between lives? Oh my.
Yeah, just sneaking it in. This is some Spanish rice I made live with Lissa.
Whoa.
It's really good. It's really good. So that one's living on my page right now.
Wow.
You got warm from that, hey? You're like, whoa, that's spicy.
Whoa. Listen, it's crazy because the recipes in this bundle I could never come up with on my own. Like, there's no way. And you get this bundle and you literally look like a raw vegan chef from all these recipes, you know? Like, it's absolutely incredible.
It's basically a raw chef course. I mean, like, it's a raw chef course. It's a how to be a yogi course. It's a, how to become an entrepreneur course. It's a how to become more balanced in your relationships course. It's a how to become a grow your own greens course. It's like,
yeah,
it's everything.
Healthy raw vegan.
Yeah, exactly. Everything.
Everything. So first of all, thank you so much, Chris, for joining me. I really, really appreciate you. I have a lot of questions. I have a lot I want to get to. But first, I just want to say, I met you in 2017 at Woodstock, and you did a presentation on how to stop being an angry vegan. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, yeah.
And that was my first introduction to you. And I was like, I didn't really know you, but I went to the presentation, and honestly, it was a life changer. It was really life changing for me. Seriously, Chris, because I was a very angry raw vegan. I was very angry vegan. And it's very easy to be angry, right? Because we see the injustices in the world.
Absolutely.
But I'm not going to inspire people yelling at them, being angry, and that's our goal. So I just wanted to say from my heart, thank you, Chris, for everything you do. And thank you for that talk and just being you. Thank you so much.
More than my pleasure. Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, beyond that too, holding anger, it does detriment to yourself, right? And kind of like you said, besides people maybe not being as easily influenced by being yelled at, it just reflects out when people see someone who's angry. They, even without you saying anything to them, if they're seeing you angry, they might be like, I don't want to be like that. Why would I want to do that? So it's like threefold.
True. So true. And now I tried to, everybody just wants results. And when you're
Yeah.
showing the result of being angry and just miserable and negative, nobody wants that.
Yeah,
So true.
awkward and scared and yeah, fidgety and all weird.
So true. Okay, so before we get into my massive list of questions,
Oh
Chris, can
my.
you just, yeah, can you just tell everyone how long you have been vegan and how long you have been a healthy vegan, or is it the
Oh.
same?
It's actually the same. Yeah, it's the same because, where I'll start was when I was a scumbag skateboarder, and I loved being a scumbag skateboarder. I tell you, I was, like drinking and smoking and pot smoking and mushroom eating and double bacon cheeseburger eating and 40-ounce drinking and,
I
all that
can't,
stuff. And,
I
you know,
can't see.
it was all that stuff. I was the dude who like I'd be with a bunch of friends and whatever was left over, whether it was the drinks or the food, I was like, just put it all together, I'll eat it. Like that was me when I was 17, 18. But I quickly fell apart, and that led me to yoga, which then led me to healthy eating. But it took about 4.5 years to go from bacon double cheeseburger pizzas and beers to high raw vegan. And so it was, I guess, about 18 and a half years ago that I went high raw. And for those 4.5 years, I was eating fruit for breakfast. That was my start. It was like fruit for breakfast and progressively more and more fruit. But yeah, so I only did 6 months vegan before I went raw vegan. And those 6 months were basically pretty darn clean, high raw vegan with the occasional vegan pizza. And other than that, that's how it was. And then I met Doug Graham and dove 100% raw and haven't really looked back besides a couple tumbles off the wagon, some without wanting to, and a few by choice.
Wow. So concise. So like
I've said this
what,
story a couple times.
your life's last 18 years in less than 1 minute. That was amazing.
I can go
What
more into it if you want. I can like go into each and every detail and every single roll down the hill. I can.
Yes. So wait, what inspired you to go vegan in the first place?
Well, I guess really the beginning it was just I was interested in athleticism, like that, like before I went vegan, that was my first intro. And I went into vegetarianism first because that's kind of what I got from yogic literature, was a little bit more vegetarian than vegan. And as I progressively learned more, I kept on hearing vegan more and more. And, at one point I was just like, yeah, this makes way more sense. I don't want raw butter. Like the last things I had were like a little bit of fish, and then I let go of that, and then it was raw butter. And then I let go of that. And really by that time, when I went vegan, it was because of the ethics. But I started my health journey specifically for athletics, and it just snowballed from there. And all the reasons started kind of coming in, and it all kind of came together and in a head with the high raw veganism. And then when I met Doug, it just like made more sense, and then I was able to apply it.
Wow. Where did you meet Doug? Did you go to like a retreat with him, or did you just randomly meet him?
Well, I did later, but the first time I met him, what had happened was I was in school to become a holistic nutritionist, and I heard about a vegan health festival. And like I said, by that time, I'd already been vegan for about 5.5 months, and I heard about it coming up, and it was called A Taste of Health in Vancouver, and it was all vegan. And I was like, all right, let's check this out. And there was 3 raw vegan speakers. One was Tonya Kay, one was Brendan Brazier, and the other one was Dr. Doug Graham. And I went, I believe, to a Brendan Brazier talk first. And the second talk I went to is Doug Graham. And dude was on fire. He was literally, it's one of those moments where he was on stage glowing. And I was just like, yep, this is it. This is making sense. And I went to his second talk that day. I hung out with him afterwards for about an hour, and he was really gracious with his time. It was really cool too, because it was like dinner time, and he was sitting down with an entire case of blueberries, just eating handfuls of blueberries. And I was just like, whoa, because like I'd been eating fruit based for quite a while, but not like cases of blueberries and just eating like this. I was like, wow, this guy's something. So I told him my goals. My goals were to become a professional skateboarder, and that I wanted to heal faster and this and that. And he broke it down. Next day went 100% raw. Went back to that festival, saw him for his 3 talks, hung out with him again afterwards. And long story short, stayed in touch all these years. Now I've co-written books with him, talked from the same stage as him, stayed at his house, and we're good friends.
Wow, incredible. That's an incredible story. Okay, so let's talk about, because you went for like athletic reasons, you got healthy. because of like recovery. And also you're one of the best examples of growing muscle on a raw vegan diet. See? Okay, guys, I saw yeah, I saw your before and after just the other day. You had it in a reel, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I had an idea.
Yeah.
I had so that's a big thing. Like I always try to inspire guys, and it's much harder to inspire guys to go raw than girls because
Yeah.
of the protein and the muscle thing. And so can you tell us, how do you build and maintain muscle on a raw vegan diet?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, the first thing to realize is most people's biggest challenge is just to eat enough calories to maintain their weight. And usually that's the number one reason why people fall off. You know, after about 2 weeks, they hit a wall and either they start eating a lot more volume or they dive into a lot of fat or they dive into cooked carbohydrate. And so the first step is to learn how to eat appropriate volumes and understand a little bit about caloric density. So you're not just eating watermelon and strawberries all day. If you're having a hard time maintaining your weight, you add in some denser fruits, you know? So that's the first step. And then from there, really what it takes is just progressive overload. It just takes pushing yourself and doing movements that are hard to do more than, say, 15 times and do a couple sets of those and do them frequently enough with enough recovery time so that you can actually start gaining mass. And the extra challenge there is when you start really pushing yourself, you need a bit extra calories. So you really want to ramp up the calories, eat with complete abundance. It's really hard to overdo. You're probably more likely to underdo it. So, you know, feel like you can eat as much as you want. And otherwise, yeah, just push yourself. And I mean, specifically with muscle building and stuff like that, because, you know, most of my life I've just been skateboarding and staying pretty trim for that. But I was in a major motorcycle accident in 2018 and I couldn't skateboard for I couldn't skateboard for a year and a half. Like I did a bit, but I couldn't push myself. And so for that first year after the accident, I was like, I'm going to stay really active and push myself in the gym. And that was the before and after there. It was after the accident, I went down to 155. Within a couple months, I got back up to my normal weight of 180. And then by the end of that year, I was able to get up to 198 with muscle. And it was just, I went to the gym about 3, 4 times a week. I pushed it hard. I ate a lot and I did the major compound exercises that produce the most muscle growth. So I'd have split days. I'd do like lower body days with squats and deadlifts and leg presses and split squats. And then I'd have upper body days where I'd be doing like bench press and pull ups and dips and, you know, some rows and stuff like that. But major compound lifts yield the best results for building muscle.
So you're full natty bra. That's what you're saying.
I'm full natty bra. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Just check. And now watermelon lime, which I love your name, watermelon lime. He wants
So
to
good.
know, do you recommend more juicy fruits for weight loss? I'm at a bit of a plateau. Yeah, just the opposite, right, Chris? Because
Exactly.
when you said calorie density, I immediately thought of Chef AJ because she just like is the queen of calorie density. And I was like, yeah, you just do the opposite of what she recommends because she's specializing in weight loss.
Yeah.
The opposite, the dates, the bananas, the mangoes.
Yeah.
What else would you add to that list as far as the dense fruits for weight gain?
For weight gain. So yeah, so just like you mentioned, any dried fruits, pears, bananas, dates, date smoothies, and then if you can find them, stuff like jackfruits and mamey and durians and cherimoya and persimmons and, you know, ackee and, you know, anything like that, sapodilla. Like, I mean, a lot of the year, mostly my sweet fruit staples kind of range around bananas and pears and persimmons and date smoothies. Those are probably my like 4 most constant. But when I get lucky, then I really dive more into the other stuff, the cherimoyas and mangoes and jackfruits and stuff like that, durians.
Yes, yes, yes. Amazing. Do you ever, this is a question that somebody asked. I bet you get this a lot. Do you ever crave cooked food?
No, really, the only time I crave cooked food is if I'm starving and somebody is making stuff or I walk by something that like smells incredibly good that's like an old favorite, then maybe for a moment I'm like, hey, that'd be pretty good, you know, but I've either developed or explored enough recipes that mimic old favorites and that really have become my favorites, that I don't really crave that other stuff. And plus I just consistently get enough calories that I don't really have intense cravings anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't ask you that question because you're like the king of making unhealthy food healthy,
Mhm.
right? Like,
Yeah,
and you're still human. We're still
yeah,
humans, you
yeah,
know? So still, when you smell something, it smells amazing. You can
mhm.
enjoy that smell, but we know what it's going to do to us if we eat it. So what's the point? Just make it in a healthy way, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's a lot easier that way. And it's funny because in my first 12, 13, maybe even 13, 14 years raw, if I did succumb to a craving like that and have a bite, I would want to roll down the hill to the next restaurant and to the next dish that I've been missing or something like that and be like, well, I already screwed up, so I might as well have this and this, And I finally come to a place now where like my girlfriend's a raw or she's high raw vegan chef, so she makes some vegan stuff. And if she makes something that's amazing and she's like, try a bite. If I feel like it, I won't say yes every time, but if I feel like it, I'll have a bite. And now I don't roll down that hill and don't feel like I was a bad vegan or a bad raw vegan and like a failure of any kind. I'm just like, oh, I tried that, right? But raw works the best. That's what I feel the absolute best with. I had one cooked meal with her that was like mostly cooked, but with some raw. But I think I've had two cooked meals in the last like 14 years, is what I thought about. So yeah, it's raw works.
Yeah, and you know what? That's such good advice for anyone trying to be healthier. Like, if you mess up or you fall off, the next thing you eat, let that be a fruit or vegetable. Let that be something healthy. You don't have to live an all or nothing life. If it's
No.
like, if you're beating yourself up constantly, that was me, Chris. Before I went raw, I was just on a constant cycle
Yo.
eating so healthy and then just falling off and then not getting back on for months. And now, yeah, if I have something not healthy, then I have something not healthy, and that's okay because my next meal is going to be healthy. So it's
Absolutely. I think kind of what you said there too, like reframing it. I have a friend, Brian Calvi from the Farm of Life, where I do a lot of my retreats and stuff. He often says it's just choice and experience. It's you're not messing up. It's not like you're failing. It's a choice you make. And you can either make that unconsciously, like a knee-jerk reaction and be driven to it and like and just like, like smash it back in your face and be distracting yourself. Or you can say, I'm making this choice. I'm going to slow down and make it a worthwhile experience and see if it's actually valid, see if it's something I want to continue. Because that's how we more aptly learn from it and grow through it and are more likely to actually let it go.
wow. Yeah, I never heard anybody say it like that. But yeah, when you slow down, make it conscious, you
Yeah.
can start to think about, do I want to do this? Do I want
Yeah.
to live like this? Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, question. Do you have any daily non-negotiables, Chris?
Daily non-negotiables. Hmm. I've never thought about it that way, to be honest. I don't think so. I like to get a bath in if I can, but occasionally I don't. I like to eat a big smoothie, but sometimes I don't. I'd like to say that I don't do anything I don't want to do, and that's definitely a very dang close to non-negotiable. But there are occasional times where the outcome is worth the not wanting to do it, right? So I don't know that I have any specific like 100% non-negotiables besides like I don't eat my friends, which is anything with a face, or ears or anything like that. So I guess that's my non-negotiable is no eating friends.
Yeah. Yes. Um, I love it. Guys, if you're not following Chris, which you probably are, but if you're not, go follow him because his stories will like melt your heart. Okay? Like literally whenever I check out your stories, Chris, whenever I see you have a story, I always check it out because I know it's gonna be cute as hell. I know there's gonna be a little kitty and it's gonna
Yeah,
be
always kitties.
and it's gonna melt your heart. And listen, if you, yeah, I mean, yeah, non-negotiable. That's a pretty good one. I did a live with Ronnie yesterday. It was amazing. We were talking about the 10 steps that ex-vegans take, ex-social media influence vegans take, and
Cookie crumbs that you see, or
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
to try to rationalize eating your
yeah.
friends again because
It's
you.
so sad.
How do you think about this? Like people that are vegan, that watch Earthlings, that watch Dominion, that seem to get it, and then they eat animals again. How do you think that works? How do you think they justify that?
it's like a court case. Once they have plausible doubt, then their string starts to unravel. And when they start to doubt that it's possible to actually thrive as a vegan, then it doesn't become ethical or non-ethical anymore. Because if you really believe that you're causing yourself suffering by being on a vegan diet, well, then that's actually not compassionate or humane to yourself. So that's the string that unravels. And what it really takes is having good education, and learning from those that succeed. And I think that's one of the things that people they don't do often. The people that go into to become ex-vegans is they, instead of learning from those who have gone through it and really digging deep and looking at their entire lifestyle and coaching with somebody who's like long term and has seen every up and down, left and right, and maybe even doing some lab works to fine tune, they go to people who didn't succeed and learn from them instead, right? And it's like that ends up basically reinforcing those doubts that they have, and then they can come to that place where they're like against vegans because they think, oh, it's all bullshit and it's all a cult. And it's like, no, there's a ton of us out here doing it good. The best science shows that it's not only plausible, it's more than plausible, and it's beneficial, right? So it's just a really sad thing, and I do have compassion for them, because I honestly, I can't imagine the range of emotions and the trauma that it would take reintroducing that and believing, because they would have to believe that they were mistaken. They'd have to believe that they just didn't know right, and that we are actually the crazy ones. And I know that's so far from the truth, because I've seen so many healings, and here I am, like almost 19 years vegan now, and I know people who are 40 years vegan and 50 and 60. And so anyhow, that's what I see from that.
Yeah, Chris, you always make me think, because yeah, I didn't feel compassion until just now, because I realized, yeah, that must be very hard actually, and
It would
traumatic.
suck.
Yeah.
It would suck. It really suck. Like I would hate to feel that and to actually think that's true, and so it is hard. And it's not that, to me, veganism is about compassion for everyone, regardless of their choices, and compassion to yourself, no matter what you choose, right? Maybe that's not the common definition, but it's the one that I try to live by.
Yeah, great point. And you always get me to think. Now I'm like, oh, I should delete that lie from yesterday. I went off, Chris. I went off. It just makes me so upset, because there's so much science. There's so much, and it's just so obvious that we're not designed to hurt any living being. It's so obvious.
It is. Yeah. No, I
So
hear you. Everything has its time and place. Everything has its time and place, and we can all learn and grow from it. And, some people need to be shaken. Some people need to be yelled at, and other people need to be held by the hand and nurtured. And, like, I do genuinely think it all has its time and place. And if we learn from each time we do something, and we really retrospect and like feel like, what does that bring me? Does that make me feel expansive? Does that bring in extra deeper connections with people, or does it do the opposite? Then we can learn and grow from it.
I love it. Thank you so much. Okay, so you're like a sage yogi. You're just like always calm. You're always in a
No, I get mad and I freak out.
most of the time. I mean, listen, I've met Chris in person, guys, and it's rare that you meet people in person that are the exact same that they are online. And Chris is the exact same, like literally. And so I'm curious, how do you stay so positive, like calm, and just like sage-like? How do you do it?
Well, the first thing would be that I actually don't. I mean, a lot of the time I am. The things that actually get me a little bit bubbling in the blood section is like things completely outside, like computer issues, or like if I'm really here. Oh, good, you're still there. I had a time, for example, when I had written a book, and I spent a couple of years on it, and then my hard drive melted and I lost the entire book. I wasn't calm at that point. And it actually
Oh my,
happened to me. The same book happened again. I've rewritten that twice. There's like 150 recipes, but I haven't put that out yet. It's still on the back burner. But I guess, yeah, I guess it just takes time and practice and retrospection and trying to find those spaces between things. I think the spaces between knee-jerk reactions is where calm is found. Like we're much more likely to all of a sudden like get stimulated and just knee jerk into a habit. And freaking out and getting mad, it's a habit. You know, it's definitely just a habit. And if we can kind of find a moment space between that and either choose to breathe or choose some other reaction, we're much more likely to cultivate that as a new habit. And I guess that is like one little kind of
Yes.
habit hack is piggybacking new habits on old habits. You know, so it's like if you have a habit to freak out or you have a habit to, you know, whatever it might be, try and become hyper aware of when that is just starting, like the things that actually trigger that habit. And as soon as you find yourself about to roll into that old hoopty that you don't want to be doing no more, well, then see that as just that little bit of a break to be like, okay, I can do this. Like just bring consciousness to it. Consciousness is the key of everything, really. Just bring consciousness to that unconscious and try to choose a new habit. And if you don't, be forgiving yourself because it takes a while to replace old habits.
Yeah, it's like a tree, you know, an old oak tree. The roots are so deep that that's going to
Yeah.
be hard to lift up. But if it's
Yeah.
a new baby tree, like a brand new habit, that's easy to take up out of the ground, you know? I think
Yeah.
Darren Hardy said that in his book, Compound Effect. Okay, so now I have a question personally that I want to ask you. So a lot of us have high cortisol levels and are
Yeah.
very stressed. A lot of us are, you know, just eating out of stress or very, like hard to like relax. It's hard for us to fall asleep. It's hard for us to meditate. What is some of your best advice that you give people on activating their parasympathetic system, lowering their cortisol, and just learning how to be present and relax? Breathe.
Just breathe. I mean, it's been scientifically proven that the fastest way to change your state of being is to change your breath. You know, so when you're stressed out, typically you're making short, shallow breaths. You know, you're just like, and you're tensing yourself up, and that just compounds that same situation, right? So whenever you find yourself in that stress spot, just take a second and just take 5 or 10 deep breaths. You know, just relax that way. And otherwise, sometimes it's good to just shake it out. You know, move it and like do a pouty pants dance. You know, if you guys want, I'll show you. So
We
when
want.
you're feeling really pouty and you're like feeling like the world's just on your shoulders and it's horrible, what you do is you stand back and you go no fair, no fair, right? And once you do that, you feel like such a silly person that you can't help but laugh, and then all of a sudden you've kind of shook some of that energy out. But I don't do that one as much as I used to, but I used to do the pouty pants dance. It's kind of fun.
I'm gonna do it right after this. You know, it's kind of like qigong a little bit. You just
Yeah, just throwing that off. I mean, qigong, any practice that gets you into your body and into your breath, you know, like out of your mind and just into flow. There's very few things that are more powerful than that. So, you know, I mean, one of my favorite things is to pet a kitty cat. You know, you just sit with the kitty and you pet her, and it's like, boom, done. You're good.
yes, yes, yes. Ah, yes, totally. I mean, that's great advice. Okay, guys. I mean, it's free.
Speaking of kitties,
It's it's such
pushing
amazing
its way in.
how the best things for us, Chris, are free usually, you know?
Yeah.
Like a lot of the time nature and breath and meditation, these are the cures for most of our problems, and they're free, and we're like, no, that's too simple. Same thing with the raw vegan diet, right? I mean,
Oh
like
yeah.
it is so simple to like get a piece of fruit, peel it and eat it, and that's a meal.
It's okay.
People keep calling me, and when they know I'm on live with a legend, people
Silly
are
people.
calling me for your autograph. I don't have
Yeah.
time. Okay, so this book that you created, this brand new meal plan book, tell us a little bit about it, and can you tell us a few of your favorite recipes from your brand new book?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, for sure. You know, for a lot of time, people requested for me meal plans, you know, and oftentimes, kind of like you said, you know, like I like to make it really, really simple. And so often I'm just like, just go to the grocery store and, you know, pick the fruit you want the most and buy tons of it. Bing, bang, boom, you got it, right? I'm like, you know, and I've been resistant against meal plans because a lot of the time they're filled with, you know, ingredients that you can't find or that are out of season or that, you know, maybe are really expensive or low quality, or maybe you don't like them or whatever it might be, right? So eventually being asked if I was like, okay, I'm going to make some meal plans, but I want to make seasonal ones. So this is the fourth in my series of seasonal meal plans, and it's the summer meal plan, and it's made up specifically with fruits that are really in season, fruits and vegetables that are really in season in the summer months, whatever your hemisphere. So if you're in, you know, Australia, well, then it's probably really winter, but we're talking summer foods, right? Because they have the opposite seasons of us, of course. But so it's a summer meal plan. It's divided up in such a way that it has shopping lists and the meal breakdowns for a 135 poundish woman and like 155-ish pound man, you know, different caloric intakes, and it gives flexibility and information on how to like make it a little bit more robust if you're a little bigger or a little smaller. And it has information on food combining and what to expect and how to put it all together. And it has, you know, breakfasts, lunches, a fruit starter, which I see as a huge key for most people when they're embarking on this lifestyle, is to start dinner with fruit and then get into your dinner meal, and then has lots of dinners. And there's so many favorites in there. Like seriously, there's so many that I could go into. I like a lot of just simple meals, you know, whether they're fruit salads or smoothies or fruit soups. Yeah, I like all those. And then most people, when you're asking for favorites, they're asking for the savory meals, you know. A surprising sweet one that I like, and I got to give credit to Louise Koch. She turned me on to what I call spicy banana, and it's actually just bananas blended with arugula, which sounds really weird, but it's so delicious and addicting. And a lot of people have a hard time getting in much arugula, but it's a good way to add a little bit of a funky, tangy spice and like really nutrient dense green into your life. So that's one. That kind of scared you a bit, did it?
I've seen you make this many times, and
Yeah.
I've always said to myself, I'm gonna try it. And I buy arugula, and I never do it, and I'm gonna do it. I have bananas, I have arugula. It's just so, I don't want to ruin my bananas or arugula, but I trust you.
I tell you, and it's one of those ones that maybe you try twice, and then all of a sudden you'll be like, wow. Like the first time you'll be like, that's weird. And then all of a sudden one day you'll be like, maybe I'll try that again. The next time you try, like, hey, wait a second. And then the third time you're like, damn, this is good. You know?
Okay, what's the ratio, Chris? What's the ratio?
I just start with a handful or two. You know, it depends how much bananas you're doing. I mean, it's always easier to start with a little and then add more if you want more, right? I've made it so strong that I was kind of like, ooh. I still had it, but I was like, ooh, you know, so.
It feels like it's gonna taste like that time that I put a bunch of papaya seeds in my
Ooh,
smoothie
no.
by
That's
accident.
worse. That's
Okay.
worse. Yeah, that's much worse. So that'd be like one sweet one. I mean, I love a banana sandwich with nectarine jam. That's really fun. That's tasty and easy. But then for the savory ones, I mean, the obvious choice would probably be my smoky barbecue pizza, which that was one complaint people had in the past about my other meal plans. Were like, where's the pizza? Where's the pizza? I'm like, well, the pizza's not in the meal plan. But I was like, all right, for summer, for a celebration, I'm going to throw a pizza in there. So we got a pizza in there. I actually just made a really, really tasty Caesar salad from it the other day with Alyssa last night, and that's actually up on my thing, and that's a really delicious one that's super, super simple as well. Creamy dill, I like that too. There's a lot of really good ones. I don't know. I think you know, ranging from incredibly simple up to that smoky barbecue pizza, it can fit anyone's tastes.
Yeah, and honestly, even your pizza, like, it's stuff that you have in the house. Like, it's
Yeah.
really simple stuff, and you're like the king of that. You're the king of making low-fat, really delicious recipes that are very simple. Seriously, like, I think you're doing it the best of anyone on earth. Seriously, I don't know how to do
That's super kind. I'll just pat my back and
it.
I'll get a big head right in front of you. It's really good. I mean, what I will say is, you know, when I first got into this, you know, I met Doug, and he didn't have the 80-10-10 book out. He had a little booklet called the High Energy Recipe Guide that had some recipes, and I made some of those. But besides that, I didn't see any other recipe books for simple, low-fat, raw, hygienic cuisine. You know, there was none. And so after about 4.5 years into the lifestyle, I'd always been interested in making food. I created my own recipe book, and the recipe book was called 101 Frickin' Awesome Recipes. It only took me a weekend to make because I had been making those recipes for the last 4.5 years, right? But then I saw a real gap, you know, like I saw a real gap between clean hygienic cuisine and the high fat raw gourmet, which was the only other thing that you'd see out there published in bookstores, you know? And so I set out to create what I considered low fat raw gourmet, which I'd never seen, and by no means will I claim that I was the first, but I'd never really seen it. And I started putting that out, and I put out a book called TRA Retreat Treats, and from there more and more, and co-wrote a book with Doug, and then did my pizza and some other stuff. But I like to find that middle ground, because a lot of people, they might, just like me, really enjoy just eating incredibly simple stuff, you know, that's really like 1 to 5 ingredients and simple. And at the same time, they might want to recreate any old favorite. So I try my dangest to be able to fit any old nostalgic kind of flavor.
Yeah, yeah, you do it amazing, Chris. We do have a question. Jadelle, what's up, boo? She's wondering if the banana arugula mix can be a salad dressing.
Yeah, you could. Absolutely. And you know,
Nice.
it's kind of actually, it's pretty wild if you do, oh, I haven't done it for so long. I just want to make sure I get this right. So yeah, no, you do banana, arugula, a little bit of green onion, and what the hell, and some mango and cilantro and a bit of mustard seed, and it becomes kind of like a creamy mustard kind of dressing that's really good.
Mustard seed.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
do it.
It's funky.
I love it. Okay, so now I have another question from a follower. What is your best advice for someone that keeps starting and stopping and they're very, very frustrated with themselves? I don't know if you can relate, but I'm sure you can. Maybe it's not with food, but maybe it's with something else. You just start and stop and you think you got the habit and then you just fall off and you're frustrated. What is your best advice for that?
Well, I guess self-assessing and finding out why you really want to do that, and to see if it is because you want to genuinely do it, or if you think you should do it, because that's a huge divide. And if you think you should do it, you're much more likely to fall back into doing the opposite, because should denotes a lack of choice, and in some ways is actually violent on self and trying to make it so that you basically have to, or you're bad. You know, like, I should do this. Well, if I don't, then obviously I'm a bad person. And so when you feel bad, you're automatically magnetized to that bad choice to reaffirm it, you know, emotionally, energetically. So if you can divide that and find out really if you want it or if you think you should do it, and if you think you should do it, well, then I guess it's time to reevaluate that. And again, kind of going back to what we talked about before, make it more of a conscious choice, because you know, so often those things that we don't want to do and we think are bad, whenever we're actually choosing them, we're doing them unconsciously and distractedly, and we think we're bad for doing them. So there's some part of us, what I believe, some part of us really wants to experience that, but we're not allowing ourselves to, because we think that it's bad. So we're always distracted and we're half stepping, right? Ain't no half stepping here. If you want to get through it, you got to just step right into it, own it, and say, okay, I'm experiencing this full on. I love myself. This is fine. It doesn't make me bad or wrong. But what is it in this experience I want? And so often when you actually do that, you realize there was nothing in there you wanted. It was just that you were held there because you thought it was a bad thing.
Wow. Yeah, I can see that with me. I can see that with people that ask me this advice. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Thank you so much, Chris. Great advice. Next question. Do you take any supplements, Chris? Do you do protein powders? What supplements do you currently take?
Well, here, let me get my stack of stuff I'm going to sell you right now. No, I'm just joking. I don't have any of that crap.
Do it.
Yeah, I can be shameless. Oh, I can be shameless. You know, for the first 10 years as a raw vegan, I didn't take one supplement at all, like zero, nada, you know, and I did blood tests year 6, 7, 9, 10. Like, I've done, I think, 6 blood tests in the last 18 years, all of them fantastic, except progressively from that 6, 7, 9, I saw my B12 levels steadily go down, and not like, boo, but they just kind of went like, do, until the point where at about year 10, my doctor was even like, look, like, you should probably supplement. And I was actually starting to have symptoms of low B12, where I was wanting to pull my hair out, and talking about like being a calm sage. I was becoming much less of a calm sage. I was like, you know, when stuff went wrong, I'd be like, ah, you know, freaking out. And so that's one symptom, you know, like a low threshold for stress, right? So I started supplementing. I took 2 injections, and then I started taking sublinguals. And since then, I do take B12, but it's not super regular, but it's enough that I stay baseline. So I do that. Uh, the only other one that I've really taken was a vitamin D, and I generally don't take vitamin D because for most of my last 15 plus years, I'm in the tropics at least 1 to 3 months a year in the middle of winter. But the last 2 years I haven't been going there, and also after my motorcycle accident, that was in the middle of summer, and I had like 3 months or 2 months of the end of summer and then all that winter where I wasn't able to get sunshine barely at all because I was either in the hospital or inside and it was cold, and I was in Canada. So I started supplementing vitamin D at that time too to really help with calcium absorption and bone growth, right? So out here too, I mean, in Sweden, I have vitamin D as well. Although I'd prefer to get a light source to get my vitamin D. And I do get some vitamin D from mushrooms, which I'm really big on charging up your mushrooms and turning them into little mighty vitamin D supplements. But yeah, those are the only 2 things. And I guess some people would consider barley grass powder a supplement. I do consume that. I really have found benefit from that. It is one of those scenarios where I really only eat things if I feel energetically drawn to them and I really genuinely enjoy them. I don't eat things for nutrition besides the B12, although the variety we have tastes good. So I kind of like it. But I really only like to eat things that I'm genuinely drawn to and enjoy. And I was very skeptical about any kind of dried powders, anything, because it goes against my hygienic kind of background. But when I was offered this to try, I felt like Scarface with cocaine. I was just like, I just want to put my face in it and just sniff it all up, you know. so
You
what
are
that
the
led me.
face, Chris. You are.
I'm the rocket ship. Say hello to my little friend, you know. So but I was like taking spoonfuls of this crap, and like I'd be like out with people, and I'd be like thinking about it back at home, you know. But that only happened for about a month and a half, and then all of a sudden I felt balanced, and now like I still use it, but it might be anywhere from a tablespoon or 2 every day or to every couple days. And some weeks I don't have it at all. But the only thing I can think of with that is that maybe it helped fill up some trace minerals that I was lacking in or something like that. Because my first decade on Raw, I ate general run-of-the-mill Canadian grocery store or conventional produce for the vast majority. Felt great, enjoyed it. My blood levels were really great. But once I met that barley grass, I turned into Al Pacino for a little while.
I can see it. Okay, so wait, real quick, how do you charge your mushrooms? You like put them in the sun?
Oh, you know it. Yeah. So mushrooms are the only plant source of vitamin D, and they have vitamin D2. Whereas when you get exposure to the sun through the magic of the sun and some bacteria and some other fun stuff, you create vitamin D3. But vitamin D2, it works well in the body, but it doesn't have as much staying power as vitamin D3. So it requires getting it more often and in larger amounts than you would from vitamin D3. So that's just a background. And the short answer to what you're actually asking is you take mushrooms, you put them gill side up. That's the best way to do it. Any way will, but they'll absorb more. And you put them either under a UVB light, which could even be like a reptile light or anything like that, or you put them under the sun in hot summer days. And what it's been shown is the mushrooms up to about 12 or so hours will multiply the vitamin D content, and it can go up as much as like 4,000%. Like literally a small handful that have been fully charged 12 hours in the sun or similar amount under a UVB light can become like a full-on vitamin D supplement. And it's really cool too, because what you can do is like, you can take mushrooms, you can slice them up, you can put them in the sun or put them under your light. And once they've been in there 12 hours, you don't really need any more. It'll actually decrease the D levels if you go much beyond that. But then you can pop them in the dehydrator if they're not already fully dry, and dry them till they're ready. And then you can put them in jars, you can put them in plastic bags, you can put them in the freezer, and they'll keep high as vitamin D supplements for up to a year and then slowly start to diminish. And you can just throw a handful in a sauce, or you could just throw it in a curry or a chili, whatever you want to do. But it's just like the cheapest, most delicious, awesome little vitamin D supplements.
I cannot wait to tell my mom that. She's in New York and she's vitamin D deficient. She's taking these supplements. She's not getting better. The levels are not raising. Oh my God, thank you so much. Guys, this is what I'm talking about. So Chris is a living legend. By the way, how old are you, Chris?
41.
41.
Yeah, 42 this year. I'm a Leo, so in August I'll be 42.
Amazing. And guys, he's been doing this for 18 years. His brand new summer meal plan is available until midnight tonight.
Yeah.
Midnight is like 6 hours.
And then I burn the file. I'm gonna burn the file.
Oh.
I'm just gonna burn it.
Gosh. Sounds so
I'm
hard.
joking. I'll sell it, but it'll be like loads of money. It's gonna be so much.
But the link will self-destruct in 6 hours. And you will not get this meal plan for $1.25 ever again. Ever again. Like,
no.
Listen, it's one of the best meal plans you'll ever get because it's simple, easy, delicious, healthy vegan recipes that you can make and you can bring to the next birthday party or function or your potluck. So we have a whole potluck book where me and Chef Ocean were talking about this. You can literally open up the book, any page, make a recipe, and you're going to blow people's minds.
100%.
Your recipe is the chicken, the General Chris's.
Yeah, General Chris's ginger wings.
Whoa.
General Chris's orange ginger wings.
I cannot wait to make those. I don't really bust out the dehydrator too much. Like I did like twice last year. Mm-hmm. One was to make your pizza and the other one was for kale chips. I think I'm going to have to bust out for the General Chris's chicken.
I think you'll like it.
Yeah.
I think you'll like it, but make sure that you do freeze the cauliflower. That makes all the difference.
Okay, yeah, who knew? These tips and tricks, like the mushroom one, it's so simple, it's so easy, and that's why Chris is a living legend because he knows all these tips and tricks. And I thank you so much, Chris. For the last question, does anybody have the last question? I have a bunch, but I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to ask Chris anything on earth that you want to ask him. Put it right down in the comments, anything at all. And if you don't, then I'll ask a selfish question.
Yeah, ask any you want. I'm not in a rush. This is my last live of the entire bundle.
Oh, no way!
Yeah,
what
this is it.
There?
Right now it's 9:48 p.m.
Oh, it's late. Wow, thank you so much, Chris. Appreciate you. What's your like bedtime? What time do you go to sleep? What time do you wake up usually?
Are we talking to good Chris or bad Chris?
Good Chris.
Good Chris goes to bed between 10 and 11.
Yes. Okay. I thought so. Yeah. And what time?
I'm bad Chris. I'm bad Chris right here. Bad Chris goes to bed, between about like 12 and 2.
Okay. The last question is, what's a good dehydrator? What's your best recommendation for a dehydrator?
I would 100% recommend a Excalibur, just a simple 9 tray. It doesn't have to be fancy. I actually recommend against the silver or whatever stainless steel trays, because what I've found is that stuff sticks to them more than the other kind that are less expensive. And I generally like the ones without the timer. I just find the timer is a bit of a pain in the butt, and I almost never use it. But some people like the timer. But yeah, just the base 9 tray. If you're ever going to make, like a party, or if you like to make food for a few people, or if you want to make large amounts and freeze stuff. But otherwise, like a good 4 or 5 tray works good too.
And I'll get the last question. Oh no, people are sending in questions. Okay, yeah. What juicer do you use, Chris? Do you juice, Chris?
Nah, waste of time. Yeah, no, I don't really juice. If I had a juicer, like somebody who juiced for me, I'd drink it, but like I don't feel like if I had a juicer, I'd do it. But like I know I'm getting enough. I don't really worry about it, and that's the way I kind of look at juicing. Is often it's like a kind of like a supplement, right? And I enjoy juices. Like I said, if I had a juicer, I'd juice. And I did have a juicer back home, like a machine. But it took so much time and so much produce and, so much cleanup. And I was just like, I'd just rather make a smoothie. When I do juice, usually what I'm doing is I'll put like celery and carrots in my blender. I'll blend it down, and then I'll put it in a nut milk bag and just squeeze the juice out. And then I'll put that back in the blender and add stuff into it to make like a really creamy, savory, sweet sauce, you know, and use it as a base of a sauce. But I rarely actually have a juice unless I'm like being given it, or you know, in an airport, and that's what's the option. Then I'll smack it.
Wait, so smack it like it's hot. Listen, celery carrots? Wait, say that again? You do celery carrot juice, strain it, and then
Yeah.
use that as base
Use
for a
that
recipe.
as the broth for the base of a curry or a soup or anything like that. And like sometimes what I do too, like one of my first kind of like curry recipes, I'd take a mature coconut, and I'd first put a little layer, like maybe 2 sticks of celery, 1 or 2 carrots, and then I'd open up the coconut, put water in there, take all the white and put it in there too, and then blend that all up till it's smooth. And then same thing, sieve it through, and then it's like and actually put some lemongrass bulbs in there, and then you blend that all up, you sieve it through the nut milk bag, and you get the best kind of like coconut carroty savory kind of dressing that you can do anything you want to. I like to add like sun-dried tomatoes to it to thicken it up, but you could put mango in there, or you could put fresh tomatoes in there. You could put a couple of dehydrated mushrooms in there, you know, that give that vitamin D punch. But that's a good base for a really nice kind of Thai sauce.
Wow, amazing, amazing. Guys, this is the kind of simple, easy recipes that are in Chris's book and in this whole entire bundle. The bundle is filled with all low fat, all raw vegan, oil free, processed sugar free. There's no gluten in anything. It's all super healthy. And you definitely don't need to be raw to get Chris's
No.
or to check out my course or the bundle, because it's all about being healthier. It's
Yeah.
not about being right. It's not about being
No.
100% or 0%, right?
No.
Which
No.
is how a lot of us are living and how I was definitely living before this diet. Some of us need to be all or 100, right? But it doesn't really work too good in any aspect of life, right? It's just you're making yourself feel guilty for being a human.
Yeah,
And
I was just gonna say there's always shades of gray, right? Just
yes,
like the movie.
I didn't see it. I know.
No. Yeah, me neither. That's gross.
Okay, so last question I want to ask you. I'm just curious your opinion on these. Have you ever dabbled? I know you dabble with smoking Daily Green Boost, but have you ever dabbled with probiotics? I'm just curious your opinion on that.
Did you say smoking Daily Green
You
Boost?
said you were
Oh,
doing
snorting. I thought you said smoking. I was like, how do you
it.
smoke it?
I meant snorting, but I said smoking.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for a video I did snort a line of Daily Green. Well, I use a different brand, but barley grass juice powder. I think I did, you know. Um, yeah, some funny stories with that. Probiotics, you know, after my motorcycle accident, you know, I was on antibiotics because, you know, I woke up after, you know, like 2 hours after the accident in the hospital, and they'd already pumped me up. And then when I went into surgery, they gave it to me. And then my next surgery, which I was conscious for, I asked to not have antibiotics, but they won't do surgery without antibiotics. So, you know, 3.5 years ago, I had like 4 rounds of antibiotics. And then also 2 years ago, I got a cat bite, which actually pierced my joint capsule. And I had 3 surgeries on my hand, and I had to be on IV antibiotics for like a week and a half. And you know, I was in the hospital for like a month, you know, from a cat bite. It's crazy. I could have lost my hand if we didn't have the antibiotics or the surgeries. But anyways, I love cats. I
Yeah.
really do. But because of those things, I have flirted with probiotics. But that said, I've listened to many a symposium with some of the most educated people on this subject. And essentially what I've come to is probiotics can very easily be overdone. And it's because our microbiome is incredibly diverse, and we only know like the scratch of the surface of how diverse and how the balances really work. And if we take probiotics consistently in mega doses, which a lot of them, like, you know, I'm guilty of it. You're drawn to the ones like, oh, it says a billion, like a billion, good. Like I want a billion, you know, like what it can do is actually crowd out the diversity, and it can basically make your microbiome less diverse and more like single kind of focused, which maybe in some cases, if someone's really messed up, that could be beneficial for a period of time. But what I chose to do based on that information was I got a good quality, fairly wide spectrum, as wide spectrum probiotic as I could. And I only took a few pills. Like I took like, I think one pill every other week for like about a month. And then other than that, I just eat a whole heck of a lot of natural prebiotics because these guys, all the different variety of fruits and vegetables, every different fiber actually feeds a different critter in there. So by getting that diversity and eating a probiotic, a prebiotic rich diet, you know, it snapped me back really quick. And I barely noticed anything from having multiple rounds of antibiotics, which I know a lot of people, they get like, you say antibiotic and like, oh God, like, oh shit, like that's not good. I can't do that. Stay away. Like I'd rather lose my arm. You know, it's like, calm down. You know, you can snap back. You know, I think people make a bigger deal of things than need be, and there is a time and place for everything, and it can save an arm or save a life in some circumstances.
Yeah, I completely agree. We need to use modern medicine for what it's worth, you know, take it for what it's worth, and use the technology that we have, and then leave the rest, you know.
Yeah.
We don't have to follow the doctor's dietary guidelines. We don't have
No.
to, you know, don't.
Yeah, don't. They might not even have any. They don't.
They don't even have any. You know what?
No.
Great point. Oh, I think I read the other day, Chris, that 70% of medical schools don't even have any nutrition classes.
Yeah.
And 30% do, but they're not required. It's just like such a scary world out there. But it doesn't have to be scary, because you can get the ultimate raw vegan bundle now until midnight tonight. And I just want to say, first of all, thank you, Chris, for your time. Thank you for letting me be in the bundle. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being a part.
Seriously, it's such an honor to be in the presence of like you and Lissa and Chef AJ and Nate and all these amazing people. And I'm just like, thank you so
much. We just little boos over here too. We all just the peeps, right? We just all the peeps. We don't need to be on no raw pedestals. We just the raw peeps, and it's a big raw family, you know?
Yeah, no, and I've connected with so many people, and I've met so many new friends through this, and people that have inspired me, and people that have like changed the way I see things. Even like 11 years into being raw, I'm still learning how to be a healthy raw vegan. And you're a big inspiration to me. And so everyone, go check out the link in Chris's bio. It is available till midnight tonight only, and you won't regret it. Just check it out, see if it will provide value for you, which I know it will. Whether you are raw, whether you are vegan, whether you are keto, whether you are just wanting to be a healthier, more beautiful, glowing version of yourself like me and Chris. Okay? So thank you for your time. Thank you for being you, and I will talk to you soon, Chris.
Sounds great. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much for an amazing week and for doing this live with me. I really appreciate you.
Such a pleasure. Much love.
Bye, boo.
See you. See you guys.